Well, hey everybody, welcome back. It is a brew day, so I'm super excited. I am going to redo a beer that I have done before, once. If you have watched this channel, you may remember, but probably not, because I think it's been well over a year. I had mentioned that I'm not really a big IPA guy, and that's still true, but that mostly holds true for West Coast IPAs. You got to remember, I started brewing like back in the 90s. New England IPAs didn't exist. Juicy, hazy, whatever you want to call them, they didn't exist. And all that existed was the India Pale Ale, the IPA. Not even the West Coast IPA existed. And so the original IPA, right, the British style, super bitter. And I just didn't like that bitter flavor. I was like, you know. And then, of course, the West Coast IPA, which to me was pretty much the same thing, you know. Again, maybe even more bitter, right? So I had written off IPAs altogether, going, that's not a style that I like. But like year and a half ago, I decided I'm going to try making a hazy IPA. I'd never had one, I know, and decided I'm just going to try to make one and see what happens and how it turns out. And I really liked it, as it turns out. And now I drink hazy IPAs all the time. So this is that original recipe. There is a crap load of hops. I'm going to try to repeat the mistake I made last time, which was I was not supposed to use all cryo hops, but I did by mistake use all cryo hops, which means that there was far more IBUs than expected. But most of that's in the dry hop. So I'm going to try that again. I think it'll be okay because it worked out last time. There is one hop that's not a cryo hop because it just doesn't come in that style. You can't get it. I think it might be Cascade. I can't remember, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Real quick, the numbers, and I'm going to jump over and start working on the grain. I'm expecting a 1067 original gravity, 1012 final gravity, which will put this around 7.2%. Obviously, that's going to depend on what the yeast wants to do. IBU is 47. Color is 6.3 on the SRM. There you go. So I'm going to go start on getting the grain ready. Most of this is going to be 2-row, 67.6% 2-row. I'm using 9.4% red wheat. 12.8% oat malt. Now this is not, you know, your typical flaked oats. This is actual oat malt that's been milled. 4.8% honey malt. And as I always do for head retention and mouthfeel, I will be adding 5.3% flaked oats. Mill all that up in the mill. If you want, you could double mill it. I've kind of gotten away from that because I've gotten a little lazy, but single time through the mill has been working pretty well for me. And finally, I like to put a couple handfuls of rice hulls. It just helps keep the water flowing evenly through the entire grist. It's time to mash in. I like to mash in at 147 degrees Fahrenheit. You may want to choose a different temperature. I've just found that that works really well for my claw hammer system. And this will be an overnight mash. And once I'm done mashing in, I use my little drill paddle, stainless steel drill attachment. That's food grade stainless steel, to make sure there's no dough, you know, dry dough left behind. And I highly recommend it. If you don't have one of these, it's really a game changer. It makes it so much easier to mash in. Anyway, once that's done, we'll do an overnight mash, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. You know what time it is. The mash is done. I just woke up, and it's time, as my logo says, to drain the main grain. So I'm going to drain the grain. And I'm going to do something different this time than I usually do. I'm going to start heating the water up to a boil as soon as the grain is drained. But while the water is heating up, I'm going to throw in my 16-minute hop addition. Okay? This is called first wort hops when you do this. It's supposed to reduce the bitterness and make it a little smoother when you put the hops in before the boil, like when you're actually warming up between. Anyway, I'm going to give it a try. There's only one bittering hop in this beer. 60-minute addition. It's, I'll I'll give you the actual amount, not that it's going to help, but 0.64 ounces of Cascade, around 7% alpha acid. I have some left over. I have some more in the freezer, but also this is a great way to save your hops, right? Weigh them out, stick them in a, what do you call these, vacuum sealed bag, and then throw it in the freezer. And these things will be good for a very long time. All right, I'm going to get to that. All right, so the boil's done, and it is time for what I call the hot stand. So the Citra went in at flame out. You saw that. And now it is time for a blend of 2 hops that's going to go in for about 20 minutes at around 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be a combination here. I'm going to do Mosaic cryo hops, 0.64 ounces. These are showing 21.6% alpha acid. And same amount of Simcoe hops, 25.6 alpha acid. So it'll be a combination of these two, give a nice amount of flavor and aroma in the hop stand. Okay, so everything's done except for chilling the wort. And I like to do a no chill overnight. So what I'm going to do is, while it's still hot, I'm going to wrap the pot with saran wrap around the lid. It's not perfect, but the heat seems to cause the saran wrap to sort of adhere to the lid. It makes a pretty decent seal. And then I will start the transfer in the morning. All right, good morning. Well, so first thing I want to do is transfer the wort from the fermenter. So I'm going to go and transfer it into my favorite fermenter, and it's going to work perfect for this. It's the all-rounder. So this is a pressure-rated fermenter. Not that I need to pressure ferment it at all. But the nice thing about it is that when it's all said and done, if I want to do a no oxygen transfer to another all-rounder, I have a little jumper cable that I can use, and it'll just use CO2 to push the beer from one vessel to the other. I may not do that. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add a couple things here. I'm going to add my yeast nutrient. I use Fermentable's, and I use another one that I get from oh geez, I can't think of where I get it from. I've had it in a couple other videos. It's basically a zinc added nutrient that's good for your yeast. Does it really make a difference? I don't know. But the big one I'm going to be adding here is, again, questionable, because I think this was a fad, really, when I did it a year ago. You don't hear about this much anymore, but apparently they still sell this. And I did have it in last year's Hazy, so I'm going to try it again. And just like last year, I'm using the same yeast. This is, and the reason that's important is because this is a thiolized powder. This is Phantasm thiolized powder. 2 ounces, no, it's 2.5 ounces. I'm just going to use it all. Will it make any difference at all? Probably not. Probably not. Really, it's supposed to react with particular kinds of yeast, and the yeast that I'm using is not one that is a thiolized yeast, so it's probably a waste. But it turned out, my beer turned out so good last year, I don't want to take a chance and that this might have been, you know, the secret ingredient. So I'm going to dump this in, and I'll use my drill attachment. That's a food grade stainless steel drill attachment to aerate the wort for a couple minutes. And while it's aerating, that'll mix in the Phantasm powder and also the yeast nutrient. All right, almost the last step before I seal it up here is I'm going to put together my dry hop kit. I like to use a muslin bag. Listen, hops get to be a mess. Yes, you can buy reusable, like they're called milk bags, and they work fine. They get stained and look kind of gross after a while, but they're a pain to clean. They're a pain to get really honestly clean. And so I like to use these. You can get them from brew stores or online, and they're disposable. Like, you know, I'm just going to end up throwing out after, you know, everything's said and done. So into the dry hop sack here, it's all going to be the same amount, 0.95 ounces each of El Dorado, Mosaic, Simcoe, and Citra, all cryo hops. There'll be very limited vegetal matter that way, and just a massive amount of flavor and aroma. And that'll be good. And that will be held by a sous vide magnet from the inside of this bag to the outside of the fermenter. So I can just drop it when I'm ready to drop it, which will be about 4 days before I'm ready to keg the beer. By the way, don't make my mistake the first time I did this and throw away the magnet with the bag when you're all done with the beer. All right, so last but not least, I need to pitch the yeast. So I'm a huge fan of Lallemand yeast, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Verdant IPA yeast. And I will double check. I believe I'm going to do this at 65. It's just an ale, so it'll be at 65. The way I usually do my beers these days is I'll leave it at 65 for about 3 weeks. It is a slow fermentation, but that allows for a nice, clean, minimizes the risk of having a lot of off flavors. This is not a beer where I want a lot of yeast impact on it. And then the last week, I usually bump up the temperature to about 75. It helps with any kind of diacetyl removal and that sort of thing, like a diacetyl arrest in a way. And then it will be cold crashed after that. So here we go. Well, here we go. It's done. And final numbers. So original gravity was 1067, just a little shy of what I was, trying to hit for my goal. However, the final gravity went a little drier to 1010. So it actually worked out. I was expecting a 7.2%. I got a 7.2%. So there you go. Sometimes the yeast is going to do what the yeast is going to do. All right, this had everything going on. First of all, it's quite hazy, orangey looking. Pretty much what I expected since it's what I made last time. Very white. Great head retention. Amazing head retention, actually. Very fruity. I thought I had smelled a lot of hop burn when I first kegged it, but it's slow kegged for a week. And it smells amazing. I don't smell anything bad. Let's take a taste. Oh, man. I don't know how I knocked this one out of the park the first time, having never made a hazy recipe, but this is so good. It's smooth. It's lots of fruit. Great aroma. I mean, this is gonna disappear quickly. This is definitely one of my better recipes. I should make this more often. It is kind of expensive to make with all these hops and the phantasm powder and all that other stuff, but man, it makes such a good tasty beer. Anyway, if you're looking for a good hazy IPA recipe, not to toot my own horn, but you should try this one. It'll be in the description. This is my second time making it, and second time, I have to say, it's still just as good as the first. So at any rate, I'll see you guys in a week for another video. Thanks for stopping by, and cheers.